Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we discuss my thoughts on episode 3 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, San no Sero, or the third plate, with the extended title Toutsuki Ressha-hen, which is the Toutsuki train arc for the second half of Season 3. And you might think that after what I said in my previous episode discussion video about hoping that things would not be too easy for our characters, that there would be a challenge, that there would be risk involved and things like that, you might think that I would come off of this episode upset. Because effectively all of our characters, all of our rebels against Central and Azami and everything like that, they've all, succeeded once again. And you might think that that would really upset me, that would perturb me, because it's kind of the antithesis of what I said. I was hoping for and expecting for the rest of this season. But quite the contrary, I actually found this episode to be pretty damn suspenseful, simply down to the fact that when our sort of focused upon characters, our triumvirate of Soma, Megumi, and Takumi Aldini, when they realize that they're being staved off to last because all of the other, central abiding students of Toutsuki Academy and whatever like that are going to get the noodles and the ingredients and nothing's going to be left by the end, and there's a blizzard coming in, so it's going to ruin any hope that Soma, Megumi, Takumi, all the other rebelistic groups that have been split off from one another, it's going to ruin any hope they have of getting ingredients, and it seems like all is lost. And I was legitimately, because they're given the stipulation that for this second round they have to produce some kind of noodle dish, I didn't know how in the hell they're going to work this out. They're talking about, they don't have flour. They don't have all of the ingredients that they could even create their own noodle dishes, create their own noodles, specifically. And I really was at a loss. I'm like, what in the hell are they going to do? I had already sort of taken it for granted. Okay, they're probably going to figure something out, but I didn't know how. I am not, skilled in the culinary arts enough to know that you can fall back on potatoes and potato starch and use that with flour and other, different ingredients, mix that all together and make a sort of batter and then create noodles and, all that kind of stuff, especially in the time allotted. It seemed almost like unbelievable that they all managed to succeed so well in this second round. But it was really, sort of pushing my expectations and staving off my disbelief, because I didn't know. I figured they would come up with something, but I didn't know how. I'm not familiar enough with the ingredients, with potatoes, and how many different uses potatoes has. Which is something that Arina saw too. We see her cracking that whip, that bull whip, and everyone back at Polar Star Dormitory under her tutelage is like, screaming for help practically. Silently, though it may have been, written in condiments on the wall. But like, she taught them all about this stuff, this particular ingredient, all of its uses, as can be found all around Hokkaido, where this train trip is taking them. And so it flabbergasted me. I was like, wow, how are they going to see clear to actually accomplishing this round if they don't have the ingredients and they can't go get them? Well, there actually still was enough left behind, and they knew how to utilize what was there, and they all passed. So because I didn't know, and because, the suspense ramped up, I totally bought it by the end. I didn't have a problem with it by the end. And if I had any complaints, it would just be that it was really swiftly wrapped up. Even with all of the explanation and everything, the info dump of all of that stuff, it did seem to go by all too quickly. And then we focused more on the character aspects, which I can't really complain about. The growth of Arina, being accepted by, people like Megumi, and outstandingly in this episode, Nakumi actually finally sort of, burns that bridge of that divide that had once been there between them, that, saw Arina pushing her away when, as she says, she calls back to in this episode, she had lost a Shokugeki some time ago, and she just sort of broke off ties with Nakumi and everything, and Nakumi finally just said, even though we're kind of on different wavelengths, there's enough of a commonality between us, and the family name and living up to those expectations, and how she's so related to Arina. But Arina, all through her childhood, as long as Nakumi had known her and had seen her, she always kept up this, bravado, this stoicism, this assuredness, because she was, from a very early age, the god tongue. And she knew what her responsibilities were, and she never shirked them, even though she might have been crying internally. And that's very similar to what, Nakumi had to go through with her family and those expectations. And so I really love that. It's always hilarious to me to see Nakumi get all nervous and she's speedily trying to, apologize. Oh, I didn't mean to get too interpersonal and whatever like that. I'm going to go get some food, let me get out of here. After she reveals all of this. But I love that aspect of Arina coming down to earth off of that pedestal that she has held herself aloft atop of for so long, and how resoundingly warm-hearted and welcoming and sweet these characters are to her, and her understanding that now. For her to bend over backwards, go against type in a sense, from how she's been for so long since we were first introduced to her, since the very first time Soma was introduced to her, and be so willing to bend over backwards and teach all of these kids from Polar Star and everything. At one time she was clear-cut rivals with every one of them, having that seat on the Elite 10, and the Elite 10 gets, name-checked again in this episode because they're all, I guess, getting involved now in the story. I guess this is the third stage of Izami's overall plan by the end of this episode, after we see that all of our little band of misfits and rebels to Central's cause have sort of, gone out dining and to taste the local cuisine and taken the sights and everything like that. Apparently there was some misinformation about the train that was meant to take them to the next spot. And this was apparently done deliberately to pick them all apart, to split them all up. And I guess they went 4 different separate ways, different little, cherry-picked members of this rebelistic group. And so now they're not going to be able to confide in each other or fall back on each other, support each other. And it's going to make things that much harder for them. But in swoops the Elite 10 with its first representative, Rindo. And holy crap, by the end, we find out that we have a new member of the Elite 10, and it's going to be the person that Soma is going to have to go up against. And who could it be? Who could it be? I wonder. It's Akira. And I had full head-to-toe goosebumps when they revealed him. I was like, huh? But then I was super duper excited and just ecstatic because I'm like, oh crap, I had just noticed in the OP watching this particular episode that there is that one point where Soma and Akira are facing off against each other, and I had actually had the active thought during the OP of this episode, I wonder if that's a tip of the hat to the fact that they will go up against each other at some point in this season. Well, I guess I was right. I guess I assumed correctly, because Akira is gonna, try to lay the smacketh down on Soma in this third round of this Toutsuki train arc. And somebody had told me in the comments of my previous episode discussion video, answering to my qualms and my worries, my fears that things, might be a little too easy for our characters. Basically, they were saying, at this point, there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a tide turn, and well and truly, our rebelistic crew, they are going to be up against it, and there are going to be risks, and there may even be some who get sent packing. And I'm entirely on edge with suspense and excitement for that. I can't wait to see how exactly this is going to play out. But I couldn't be more stoked. If I wasn't already stoked enough that Shokugeki no Soma is back to begin with, I am uber stoked that the next round is Soma versus Akira once again. And I hope he shoves cinnamon sticks right up his nostrils. Because of course I'm always going to be rooting for Soma. He's my favorite character out of every one of them. Nakumi is second. But yeah, I mean, hell, this was a pretty dope, exciting episode and heartwarming and sweet toward the latter half. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen with this SmackDown, with this oncoming bout between Soma and Akira. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've been following the series. Are you on the edge of your seat much as I am? If you read the source material without posting any spoilers, did you get excited when you encountered that in the manga or whatever like that? You know, was it as insane and exciting as it is now in the anime for me? And even with that foreknowledge of maybe how it's going to play out, do you still find it exciting? Is it translated well, you know, to your tastes in the anime, from manga to anime? And so yeah, otherwise, until the next one, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.